Next, we are excited to kick off our open mic night tonight. We are honored to have Mr. Jack Long Ji Yang joining us tonight. Mr. Jack will be presenting on his topic, Beyond Servers, Rethinking Data Center as Low Energy Integrated Ecosystem in the Tropics. Let's give a warm round of applause to him to take the stage.
Thank you, Architect Rin. Hey everyone, I'm Jake. Currently in the 5th month of my 9 months thesis program. I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to share the progress that I've made so far. So the title of my thesis is Beyond Servers, subtitle Rethinking Data Centers as Low Energy and Integrated Ecosystems in the Tropics. So as shown in this simple diagram, this thesis envisions a new paradigm for data centers, transforming them from energy-intensive server farms into decentralized, self-sustaining ecosystems that harmonize with the tropical environment. So by architecturally mediating between utilitarian infrastructures and human-centric spaces, this project explores how to transform data centers into interactive landscapes rather than isolated urban voids. So this proposal aims to redefine data centers as living infrastructures. The 6 chapters in my project will be covering the introduction, research, site analysis, and ultimately an intervention. Introduction, white elephants. So in recent years, many tech companies in Malaysia has chosen Malaysia to set up their regional data infrastructure due to reasons like English proficiency, cost-effective power supply, and more. Companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon have announced multi-billion-dollar investment into building data centers here. So all data is made out of ones and O's, which are the backbone of the digital world. The Instagram that we scroll every day, Google Drive where we store our documents, bank transactions, all required physical data centers to process and transmit all this information. As global reliance on digital technology continues to grow, the demand for data centers is higher than ever. So as I delve deeper, I found that data centers are making headlines everywhere. On one hand, they are fueling the AI boom and digital economy. On the other, their massive energy consumption is raising concerns. Critics argue that these massive facilities are becoming eyesores, lacking architectural identity and failing to integrate with their surrounding context. Instead of blending into the urban fabric, they often stand as isolated, hulking structures with little consideration for local context. So, as technology companies race to expand, the challenge now is not just efficiency and sustainability, but also rethinking how these structures can contribute meaningfully to the built environment rather than simply dominating it. If our built world holds the power to destroy, does it not also hold the power to heal? So this is my interpretation of an urban white elephant, a large, expensive, and underutilized infrastructure in a city. It often consumes valuable spaces and resources while failing to provide maximum value to the public. Chapter 1, Living Infrastructures. So in the early part of our thesis, we were encouraged to select and study a few theories that is suitable to our project and aligns with what we believe in crafting architecture. So the first one that I've chosen is Inhabitable Infrastructures by C.J. Lim, where he explores the idea of tangible meets intangible through rethinking infrastructure beyond utility. He challenges the conventional view of infrastructure as purely functional and explores how it can be designed for human habitation, interaction, and ecology. Hybrid typology is one of the possible solutions that I've selected to dive deeper into. The second theory, Speculative Everything by Dune and Rabi, challenges the notion of design is a tool of speculation, not solution. They constantly ponder upon the question of what if. To them, the goal is to open up possibilities by provoking and having critical discussions between different parties. So enhance my own design philosophy. I'm bridging what we usually think of as co-mechanical system with human and ecological outcomes. On the left side, we have the typical infrastructure elements like systems, machine, and productivity. On the right, we have human-centric needs, quality of life, community needs, and public well-being, aspects often being ignored in a large-scale utility design. Right in the center is where I position my design philosophy, a balance. So it's about creating system that functions like machine, but also cares like human. We don't have to choose between technology and humanity. It's about machines and humans coexisting, sharing, and benefiting together. So chapter 2, escaping the matrix. There's a saying, you need to understand the rules before breaking them. So I've conducted a spatial study on existing data centers, what spaces are required, how big they should be, and how small and scalable can they go. I also look into the general power and cooling cycle of a data center, examining where all the energy and electricity goes. For instance, most of it goes to the white room, where they store all the server racks and the cooling room. I also examine energy efficiency data centers as well, specifically Meta's Primeview data center in the United States. It uses only 60% of the energy compared to other data centers of this size. However, they specifically choose a cooler region in the US for this site. So the question now is, can energy consumption go lower in a tropical country? Well, some architects has also challenged the notion that data centers shouldn't solely be utilitarian. This one in London is specifically interesting. Although it's not built, the concept aligns with my intention. It uses biomass energy from the landfill to help with the cooling system of the data center and proposes a man-made pond that doubles as a jogging park. Chapter 3, the catalyst. So I've developed a series of experimental prototypes in different tropical settings before diving deep into one. Since my thesis topic covers tropical climates, as a prototype experiment, so these are the following variables. The constant being the micro data centers, and the manipulated variables being the site settings. The site setting will dictate what kind of renewable energy and suitable energy harnessing methods are appropriate for the data centers. And then a responding variable deciding what is the most suitable second typology for it. So ultimately, I'm trying to propose a dual typology kind of data center setting. So the way the prototypes are expressed are through different sites, conditions, and settings. So one of the prototypes is proposed to be in Janda Baik, a highland agricultural setting where the data center acts as a catalyst, harnessing renewable energy from rainwater harvesting streams from hydroelectric powers and a nearby solar farm. So the waste heat, because as we know, data centers, they produce a lot of waste heat. So the waste heat generated from the data center can benefit the local farmers and community. Since the site is in Janda Baik, heat can actively be transformed into electricity and passively create a humid environment for worms and mushroom to grow, whereby creating a second typology, a mushroom and worm farm. So due to the time constraint and the agenda of today's presentation, I will not go through each of them, but these are some of the sites and proposals that I've did throughout the semester. Yeah, and some of the models that I've did during the presentation previously. Chapter 4, macro and micro. Okay, so the site of my project is in Johor, where it already has existing data center plans and has received one of the most significant investment funds, not just in Malaysia, but in Southeast Asia. So the Johor government has also planned their own cooling source, a $1.5 billion reservoir, and their vision for biomass as renewable energy aligns with my project. One of the key principles in my design philosophy is decentralization over monolithic design. Instead of having one massive data center sitting in an isolated spot, I'm proposing multiple smaller distributed micro data centers spread across 2 kilometers of Kampung Bakar Batu, which is my final site. So this adapts to different urban and rural contexts rather than forcing a one-size-fits-all approach. Here I've identified 5 key locations for these micro data centers, but their functions vary. Most of these locations serve a straightforward utilitarian purpose, primarily designed to enhance existing infrastructures. But site 3 is different and ultimately my final site. So this is where things get a little bit more interesting, because in site 3, I see an opportunity for utilitarian to serve the human-centric spaces, where data center can give back to the community, the economy, and also the environment. So during my site visit, I've identified 4 key factors that will significantly impact how my project is implemented and functions. Number one, a nearby substation acts as an emergency backup. So just 800 meters away from my proposed site lies a TMB substation. This proximity makes it a strategic asset for my decentralized micro data center network, offering a reliable secondary or emergency power source that enhance overall grid stability. Number two, an ongoing river cleaning collaboration. Since 2022, the local authorities have been actively involved in river cleaning activities. This presents a valuable opportunity to collaborate and aligns with the environment goals, potentially integrating my project with their ongoing sustainability efforts. So the significant amount of waste collected daily opens up to potential for on-site biomass energy generation. By converting organic waste into clean energy, the project can close the loop on sustainability while reducing pressure on landfills. Number three, a cultural asset along the river. So in addition to environmental assets, the site hosts vibrant local activities like a canoe club and a boat repair workshop. So these offer exciting opportunities for program integration, supporting the local economy while fostering community engagement. And number four, the stolen lives. So once a lifeline for coastal livelihoods, the fisheries sector here is now barely afloat. Caught between pollution, overfishing, and economy strain, the nearby water are heavily depleted. Pollution from the Turbau River and surrounding developments has damaged breeding grounds and driven fish stocks down. Fish harvested are now 3 times lower compared to 8 to 10 years ago. So this forces fishermen to take travel further out to places like Sungai Lato, straits between JB and Singapore, or even Desa, increasing fuel costs and safety risks. Daily sales hover between 150 to 200 ringgit, with only 30 to 50% reaching the fishermen themselves. Many rely on part-time gigs to sustain their families. And final chapter, the proposal beyond data. So this is the overall boundary of my site in Kampong Bakar Batu, covering both land and river zones. The site includes edge access along the Turbau River and has strong urban and ecological potential due to its location and visibility. So the site zoning diagram is one of my intervention. It's organized into 4 key zones: renewable energy, utility functions, human-centric programs, and combined spaces. Each component is placed to respond to existing site conditions, including slopes, proximity to water, and public access. So for example, the solar panels are oriented for maximum sun exposure, ensuring high energy efficiency throughout the day. Most of the public spaces, like market and public squares, are placed close to the main road to ensure accessibility and visibility for the wider community. In contrast, the more semi-public human programs, such as the fish farm, the restaurant, are positioned across the river, accessible via a pedestrian bridge or small boats. So this helps create a more serene experience-based environment for visitors, while still being connected to the core system. This section illustrates the gravity-fed water system I've designed. Treated water from the plant flows down into raised fish tank, then cascade through each level and eventually fill the submerged basin at the center. The entire system works without active pumping. It's fully powered by gravity. To maximize hydroelectricity efficiency, I designed a sink that speeds up the water flow by increasing vertical drop, which in turn increases water velocity. Based on simple basic water dynamics, faster moving water means more kinetic energy, which improves power generation. So the outlet pipe discharged 7 kilometers away to achieve a 5-meter water difference, essential for the energy conversion. So the inner structure remains water-filled, but can be drained for maintenance when needed. To add another interesting layer of interface and tighten the gap between human and data center, number 11 proposes a see-through aquarium. So imagine you're dining at number 8 while able to look at the fishes swimming around the submerged capsule data center in number 11. So this rough 3D model is based directly on my site zoning plan. It visualizes the spatial arrangement and gives a sense of volume between core circular data center, its energy generators, and surrounding community spaces. Did an artwork to express the spaces in my building. The dry data center at the bottom core uses two-phase immersion cooling, making it much more efficient and low energy in tropical climates. The constant flow of water from above the system prevents stagnation, so the water doesn't have time to absorb and retain heat for the data centers. This helps maintain a cool and overall cooler environment, supporting both system efficiently and aquatic health. Around the data center hub, I designed overlapping spaces for infrastructure, ecology, and public use, showcases that even high-tech architecture can still be human, cultural, and place-sensitive. This series focuses on key human-oriented spaces within the proposal. A salted fish processing area, this space supports the existing fishing community by offering a cleaner, more organized, and for drying and processing zone. It uses passive airflow systems and raised mesh drying beds, and is designed to be flood resilient and sun exposed. Market and public squares. Number 2, market and public square. This space acts as a transition between the river and the town. It is a hybrid plaza for food vendors, fish sales, social gatherings, and even cultural events. The design keeps it shaded and ventilated using tree cover and open air construction. This series zooms into support spaces for the local economy, especially the fishing community, which is the most vulnerable community in my site. So fishing equipment shop, number 1 will be the fishing equipment shop, a small modular structure that sells or rent nets, tools, and sustainable gears. It can also offer repair services and acts as a gathering space for workshops. Number 2, a boat repair workshop, elevated over the river. It allows safe and dry access for small boat repairs, and it supports both daily use and long-term maintenance, helping fishermen reduce downtime and stay local. And number 3 is where the sustainable fishing pools are placed at, all while being extremely sustainable and reliant on renewable energy. So this isn't just a data center, it's a living system. It grows, it filters, it feeds, it protects, and it runs itself with minimal external input. In a world that's heating up, running out of resources, and humanly insensitive, this kind of design isn't futuristic or optional anymore. I would say it's necessary. So yeah, my name is Jake, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Check, for your presentation. Very good presentation that catch the flow of what data center developing in Malaysia now. Now, let us move on to our next agenda. We won't be able to have every one of you here today with us and also our architect from Hong Kong without our sponsor. Let us welcome our gratitude to our sponsor today, Nippon Paint Malaysia, for their generous support to the event. We are pleased to invite Ms. Christina Chong, Marketing Executive, to come forward and share a talk about their products. Please join me in welcoming them.
Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Christina. I'm actually from Nippon CMI. Okay, so Nippon right now is coming out with a new thing called one-stop anti-patchiness internal system. Okay, so previously you heard about different version is for external. So this one we came up with the internal version. So a short introduction of Nippon Paint. As you all know, Nippon Paint is still the coating expert, but now we are trying to do from bare to finish, so we're giving you a compatible system. Okay, so geographically, we actually already more than 22 geographical countries, so we're actually at 28 geographical countries right now. Okay, so Asia, we are still number 1. Of course, globally, we are number 4. Okay, so these are some of the iconic places that we actually did supply before. Okay, so these are the few countries. Okay. Of course, not to forget our Brand Confidence Award. So these are some of the awards that we got throughout the years. Okay, so Nippon Paint, as you all know so far, Nippon Paint as coating expert. So now we are calling it a short form called TCCS, a Total Coating and Construction Solution, whereby we have combined together with dry mix company called CMI, and then of course our VTech Vital Technical as a sealant company. So that's why we're doing a one-stop system. So for this round, we are introducing our one-stop anti-patchiness internal system. So this one comes with different warranty. So tied together with CMI dry mix. So the skim coating, your plastering together with the paint will tie together. Okay. So as you all know, sometimes in construction site, your wall, internal wall, you have patchiness on top, but you don't know how it come from. So it can be different causes. So we have like patchiness, like shadowing, tiger strip, or even appearance kind of patchiness, but you don't know how it occur. So sometimes it's because of the workmanship, or sometimes it's because of the material problem. Okay? So when it comes to all that, so what causes it? It can be either overly compressed, okay, unsustainable product quality, or improper mixing condition, or even skim on skim. That means skim on skim means you over skim the skim coat. That will cause the problem also, okay? Of course, eventually over time we have like over dilution of paint on water to inside the paint, okay? And then of course high moisture and all that will cause the patchiness also. So that's why Nippon Paint actually shows you over here, to have a good absorption rate, right? This is the best absorption rate, okay? Because your different level of skim coat or drying time and all that will actually cause different problem, okay? If your paint is diluted also, it will cause different problem, okay? So that's why CMI and Nippon Paint came up with the warranty for 2 years warranty period, okay? So this is the compatible system where you have your skim coat, your base coat, comes with your finish coat. Of course, Nippon sealer and the finish coat paint. This is more for internal version. Okay, so you can choose whether you want it a premium system or you want it a standard system. Of course, difference will be on the paint side rather than the skim coating side. Okay, so of course you got the premium version of paint and then a slightly cheaper version of paint. Okay, so this is the optimum compatibility that we already tested at many sites already. Okay, so this is the compatible system within CMI and Nippon Paint. Okay, so I will play a short video. The one before, yeah. you so much.
Thanks, Christina and Nippon, for the sharing. Very innovative. Always have new product whenever they came on board. Now, before I proceed to our main agenda today, just let me do a slide promotion for our upcoming event. For CLAF Kuala Lumpur Architecture Festival 2025, we are having 2 upcoming events. This one is one of it. We are going to have our Janda Bayet tour with UAC, visiting 2 of the projects in Janda Bayet. This will be happening on next Tuesday, 23rd of September. Open for everyone, including public. You can bring your family. It's free for everyone. Just remember to register at CLAF apps, and then you can get to join this tour. You will depart from PAM at 8 a.m. All right. Now, finally, move on to our main agenda today. We have our Design Lecture Series 2025 Season 2, and we are very happy to have our young architect from Hong Kong, Architect ARNOLD and Architect WONG from ARTA Architects. They will be presenting the topic on Convergence of Art and Architecture. ARTA, ARTA means art and architecture, is where the thought-provoking and experiential quality of arts meets the functionality and speciality of architecture. Founded in Hong Kong in year 2021 by both of them, ARTA has created numerous public art and architecture installations that encourage community interaction and provide a platform for the public to creatively interpret and engage their works. With a strong focus on sustainability and education, ARTA designs often incorporate recycled material and involve NGO, allowing people of all ages and backgrounds to participate in design process. ARTA's work has been exhibited and recognized internationally and locally, including Venice Architecture Biennale, HKIUD Urban Design Awards, winner of HKIA Young Architect Awards, winner awards of the Development Bureau Victoria Harbour Wood Art Competition, and many more. Looking forward, ARTA has been appointed as the design architect for a 30,000 square meter waterfront project, multiple sea view villa, and several architectural installation and various interior design projects. And we are so looking forward to hear from them today. Let us welcome Architect ARNOLD and Architect Wai.
Hello, hello.
Testing.
Hi. So thank you very much for inviting us here. We feel very honored and humbled that you guys will invite us from Hong Kong, 2 boys from Hong Kong, to come here. We've only been here for an hour, and we are already, just from this building itself, we are already amazed at, firstly, how different things are in Malaysia compared to Hong Kong. And this building itself, we already find there's so much architectural merit in it. And we heard it's done by a young architect from Malaysia as well. So we hope this sharing will be quite interesting to see the cultural differences between Hong Kong and Malaysia. And I don't know, maybe we have a few things we can share on how young companies like us can get started and keep going. So I'm Tat, and this is Arnold.
Hi everyone. So I'm studying in University of Hong Kong for both my bachelor and master degree. After that, I worked in Japan, in Sana, in Amsterdam, in UN Studio, and then in IDAS, where I met Ted, this very talented architect. And I think I worked abroad a lot, but then ultimately I really want to serve the people of Hong Kong and our community. So I decided to go back to Hong Kong. And in 2020, during COVID, there was nothing to do. In Hong Kong, even you cannot have haircuts. Restaurants are closed. So Ted and I did a lot of competitions, and we were very fortunate to win a few of them, and most of them are art installations. And after that, in 2021, we started our company.
Yeah, okay. So my journey was a little different from Arnold's. I also studied in Hong Kong U as well. But then for my work experience, I went to Beijing in DNA Architects. And then also I came back to Hong Kong to work in ARK. And then we met while we were working together in IDIS. So in IDIS, we were very lucky. We were on the same team. And we worked on some projects in Hong Kong that were quite exciting. So the project here is a commercial building in Wan Chai in Hong Kong. And what's unique about this is, so here's the cultural difference. In Hong Kong, the space is very scarce. Each square meter is very valuable. So when we were designing this building, you can see how small the plot of land is. We had to use this new regulation called the open space approach, which allowed us to have a very large footprint at the top and to have it more narrow at the bottom. So we use this as part of the design concept and have this very smooth curve from the top to the bottom. And this allowed more of the valuable floor area to be placed at the top rather than the bottom. And this was one of the first projects in Hong Kong that utilized this approach. Second is, this was for another commercial building project, but what was unique here is the design of the hoarding. In most projects in Hong Kong, the hoarding is, I don't know what it's like in Malaysia, but in Hong Kong, it's some corrugated sheet and then some banners on the top. So this one is actually all from aluminum cladding and with lighting effects. So at the time, it was one of the most extensive hoarding designs in Hong Kong. And we also had to go through a lot of barriers to get this approved by the buildings department. So yeah, so another breakthrough project that we did at IDIS. Then we also worked on this hotel in West Kowloon in Hong Kong. It was actually the first competition we did in the office together, and we won this project, so it gave us the confidence to start our own company afterwards. And also this project is for a hotel in Mongkok, and the design was through these protruding boxes of glass boxes, which was also at the time quite unique in Hong Kong. So Arnold also worked on this commercial project in Yuen Long. And so it has office towers and a shopping mall. And the facade design is also quite unique, I think, for Hong Kong. So in 2021, we started our company. And at the time, we had the biggest challenge that young architects face is what to name our company. And we had a lot of different names, some very disastrous ones as well. We finally settled on this, which ARTA, which stands for Art and Architecture, and subtly, I guess, Arnold and TAT. But the main idea is that this guides how we treat each project. We believe that by infusing artistic concepts into architectural design, we can push ourselves to develop more creative and more unique designs. So as an example, one of the first competitions we joined as our new company was for a Chinese New Year fair. It asked for an entrance installation design. So we used this concept of exploding fireworks. And so if we take a fireworks and we explode it, we found that we could create this, first a portal, which also becomes a gateway to allow people to enter the market. And this also makes people experience fireworks in a different way. Normally, you always see it in the sky, you see it in different shapes and sizes. But here we give an opportunity for people to go inside a firework and experience it in a different way. And also at the time in Hong Kong, because of COVID, there were no fireworks celebrations. So we thought this was a more sustainable and long-term way to celebrate Chinese New Year with fireworks. So our first competition, unfortunately, we were not selected. We got a merit award, but it also gave us motivation to keep going. And so since then, 4 years later now, we have developed quite a lot. And one of the key ideas behind our company is we like to work in many different scopes of design. So architecture, landscape, interior, and art installation. Because we're a bit inspired by Thomas Heatherwick, and I think he really believed that by exploring many different design disciplines, you learn from each discipline and you become more creative. And when we started our company, that is the intention that we had. And in a very funny way, 4 years later, we realized that is actually so true. And we'll be sharing some more projects that hopefully show you what we learned from each project.
So since 2021, we were very fortunate to work in the world-famous Victoria Harbour. I think since then, we have completed almost 20 projects around the waterfront of Hong Kong Island. So one of the very first projects we completed in the first year was the Harbour Wave Pavilion, overlooking the very beautiful Central and Tsim Sha Tsui Harbour. We used a 30,000 piece of recycled plastic bottle caps to create this vibrant color that celebrate the Victoria Harbour logo. One thing you might not know is usually in Hong Kong, they only recycle the bottle, but not the bottle caps. So we decided to use this as a reminder for the people to cherish our land and our environment. And we also create a lot of immersive art installation. For this one, we create a reflective and refractive hexagonal prism that allowed us to see different lightings of the Victoria Harbour. For example, the photo on the right-hand side became one of the stamps in Hong Kong. And we always like to reinterpret the client brief in a more artistic way. For example, this portal design is celebrating the speed of a train that is traveling on the track. So all of our art installation or public project, we believe in 3 goals. First of all is to encourage people interactions, because back then it was always about social distancing. Don't touch each other, don't have handshake. So we believe this is very important. And secondly is about open to interpretation, just like in art piece, just like in museum. Interpret or use it however you want. Thirdly is about to stimulate people's senses and emotion. Back then in 2021, there was a lot of social events in Hong Kong and COVID, people are not happy. So I think a very important aspect of design is to make people even to just give them a smile. So actually this was also in the first year, it was a competition, it was very simple. The brief asked us to create 15 alphabets, Victoria Harbour. But instead of just a signboard, we created a spatial experience for the people. For example, a lot of yoga people like to hang out in the alphabet C or in the O. And we also introduced Chinese characters to boost the people's sense of belonging in Hong Kong. And in this project called the Symphony of North Point is the aging population problem is the most serious in Hong Kong. And a lot of youngsters told us they don't like to hang out in North Point because there's mostly the older population. But instead of that, we want to bring different generations together. So we created a sound device that can allow the young people to have like a little music performance, or for the elderlies to do exercise here. So in the morning, a lot of elderlies, they take it like a grab bar, like a fitness equipment. And in the evening, a lot of youngster came here to play guitar and music. And we also believe in sustainability and circularity a lot these days especially. And In this project, we spent around 6 months to collect glass bottles from the restaurants and bars in under the Swire Properties shopping mall and convert them into 800 pieces of recycled glass butterflies, which celebrate the very rare species of butterflies in Hong Kong. And on the top, you can see how the fabrication process from glass bottles into small beads, and then we upgrade them into these recycled glass butterflies. And this project is in a heritage building in Wan Chai. One of the very old residents told us a story about a banyan tree, about how it was destroyed by the typhoon. So we created a modern version of the banyan tree, which is also a wishing tree. You know, in Hong Kong, a lot of people believe in feng shui, so we hope this can give them an opportunity to make a wish. Please play the first video, the Mallory one. Thank you. So it is also a digitally interactive tree. People can literally make a wish, and then the tree will react in a different way. Do you mind to lower the volume a little bit? So the heritage building has a very big courtyard, and we want the tree to be visible around on the ground level and also high up in the skies, as you can see in the beginning. So at night, you can walk inside the tree trunk, and there's a sphere, lighting sphere in the middle. You can hold it and make a wish. We actually cannot tell you what your wish is, but depends on how greedy your wish is. For example, it's a 1 minute long wish or it's a 30-second wish. It will trigger different lighting effects. So that's the little secret how we customize the lighting effect. And also, like a banyan tree, there's a lot of air roots around the trees, and people can also can touch it and to trigger different lighting effects in the evening. I think we can go back to the presentation. Thank you. So, like Ted said in the beginning, we work in many scale. The last slide, please. Or is it the next one? Oh. Yeah. This is a heritage project Dai Gun, designed by Herzog and de Meuron. What we did is actually adding 200 pieces of flexible furnitures, modular furnitures in the staircase, which provide an opportunity for the client to rearrange it for a movie night, for a music performance. And actually, the shape actually tried to echo the new building designed by Herzog and de Meuron and how it reacts with the heritage building in the original central police stations. So these are one of the 3 key projects we would like to talk a little bit more. We recently completed the Kai Tak Promenade in Hong Kong. Originally, this project is just a 1,000 meters long infrastructural project. It meant to don't have any function or facilities. It's just meant to be a connector. And it serves as a greenway. A greenway is a combination of pedestrian walkway and cyclist pathway in Hong Kong that the government is trying to advocate this year. And instead of just designing a connector. We actually want to propose a promenade that is very age-friendly from elderly to kids to teenagers, for everyone to enjoy. So as an architect, it's actually quite challenging to ask for more budget for the client for construction, or to push the contractor to do more. But we did that anyway in a few challenging years. And we actually created the Hong Kong longest harbor steps. It's around 600 meters long. What's special about it is Hong Kong people are usually very, very safe. Along the harbor front, you always have a very tall balustrade. But this is the first section of 600 meters. There is no balustrade along the waterfront, and people can actually walk down the steps. As you can see on the top left corner, this is the Kai Tak Sports Park, big stadium recently opened. We also proposed a playscape and an amphitheater and a public toilet facilities for the public. And we believe the waterfront is for everyone. And another story about Hong Kong is everyone in Hong Kong is trying to get a flat that can see our waterfront. That's our dream. That was how we were told we should dream about a waterfront viewing park, waterfront viewing a flat. But nowadays the waterfront is more and more open, and we really want to provide this kind of space for everyone. As I said just now, you can see the harbor step, how it extends to the waterfront. So after the concert or a sports event, they can come here, have a beer or have a drink. So at night, it's also a very vibrant and with a lot of lightings. And all these harbor steps are prefabricated units. It was only installed inside for around, I think, 2 weeks, and the 600 meters harbor step is already completed. Similarly, the amphitheater, the design of the pavilion are inspired by tree trunk and the shape of tree. We hope to provide sun and rain shelter for the public. And again, in Hong Kong, it's all about efficiency and a very cost-effective solution. So we prefabricated all these pavilions in the factory and then shipped them for very short-term construction on site. And Kai Tak is known as we have a very rich history of the airport. And we, again, with a very limited budget, we bargained with the contractor for 3 months maybe. They asked us to create a flat roof, but instead we created a pitched roof to pay a very subtle tribute to the aviation history of Kai Tak. And like I said just now, there was also a playscape, and it was inspired by the Kai Tak logo, the current of vitality, and in terms of the color scheme and also in terms of the form. Again, at night, this is a 24 hours open promenade, and everyone can go there anytime. So, as an architect, it's not easy, but we hope to create something that is beyond infrastructure, however, in whatever way we can. So, yeah.
So this is the second project that we want to go into a bit more detail. So I don't know if people have been to Hong Kong, maybe you recognize this site. It is in Central, next to the harbor front, and this is the current observation wheel. So it's one of the most iconic sites in Hong Kong. We're very lucky that we had a chance to bid for this project. So hopefully this will share how we do things maybe a bit different from others, is the brief from the client. So the client is Hong Kong Maritime Museum, and they got this anchor that they wanted to display in Hong Kong. So the anchor has a lot of historical meaning because it belonged to the largest cargo ship ever to have been built. And so they wanted, in the brief, they asked to propose how to display this anchor in a public plaza. So what we think we did differently from others is we thought we can't just have this anchor sitting in this open plaza because there's not enough interaction, there's not enough interplay with it. So we decided very early on that we had to have some kind of installation or pavilion to create this interplay with the anchor, which further enhances its historical significance. So step one, we decided we needed a pavilion. So step two, if we look at these diagrams here, the site actually in Hong Kong, I don't know if it's like this in Malaysia, but in Hong Kong there are millions of building regulations and constraints that limit what you can do creatively. So for example here, in this site, there's very limited buildable areas. So what we decided was, in the area available, we would create these stepped seatings, and we would have it inspired by the form of it inspired by the sea and the waves. One of the use is to raise up this anchor. So as you can see, when people walk around it, the anchor is raised up high and you can see it from a different perspective. And then thirdly, we decided to create this pavilion. And so the form of this pavilion, we thought about it for a long time, how we should do this. One thing we were inspired with in our research was we looked at these images of really historical ships. And what at the time, what we didn't know is this is what the inside of ships look like. And they have these very beautiful structure, very repetitive patterns. And we thought the first thing we wanted to do is we wanted to invert a normal boat. So we reveal the structure on the inside so it becomes an educational experience for the public. And the second, for the form, we did a lot of studying, and we studied all these different profiles of ships over time. And we found that when we combined the forms together, we could create this new form that it kind of looks like a ship, but at the same time it's not. And so it becomes, in a way, a reinterpretation of historical and modern boat forms, which celebrates what the museum's concepts are. And yeah, so we believe the form that we came up with is quite unique and quite an iconic architectural form. And you can see that it actually, when the whole plaza is completed, it has a very nice interplay with the observation wheel behind it. And you can see how the pavilion and the anchor have this interplay as well that celebrates and enhances the anchor's significance. Another part of the form, why we had to create such a form, was we wanted to make it so on the inside it could become this immersive pavilion, and so people can walk inside and walk and sit and chill. And at the same time, there are many different interactive displays that happen all throughout the day. And also the form of the inside is completely smooth, so it contrasts with the form of the exterior with all the revealing structures. So at night, also the facade becomes a lighting sculpture as well as the anchor with different light shows that celebrate the waves and patterns of the sea. Also in terms of the materiality, we made it so one side, the side that's facing the museum is actually in the background here. So on this side, we use silver colors that represent the steel colors used in modern boats, while on the other side, we use material that represents the wood materials used in the more traditional boats. So it becomes a celebration of both the past and the present of shipping heritage. And you can see from the top view how, as the angle of each fin changes, there's a very smooth transition between the silver and the wood material. Also, the form of the pavilion, another reason why it's shaped like that is, as you can see in this section, because on both sides it's pointed upwards, So it encourages more natural ventilation, and it becomes the form itself drives this passive cooling, which helps to keep the space cool enough to go inside even in the hottest of summer days. So also we had a very tight timeline as well for construction. So a few tricks we did was, say, each step is a precast concrete module. And also what we did was these step seatings, they're more narrow in some areas, and then they're more wider in others. So it naturally creates areas where it's for using as steps, and also areas for seating for the public. And so yeah, this was one of our first completed architectural projects. And we feel hopefully it'll lead to more different projects. Also, we think one of the skills we need to have as young architects is we need to have perseverance for projects such as this that last 2.5 years. We had to go to the site many times, but it's very fulfilling to see how it came from nothing to the completed project. And you can see how from our very first concept sketch and then our very first rendering, and to finally have it completed is a feeling that it's pretty good. So I think we can share a small video which kind of captures what I talked about. So even the panelization, we spent a lot of time developing it to make it in a wavy form that celebrates the sea and the ocean. And as it opens, it hopefully drives more people to the actual museum that's nearby. Okay, thank you. We can go back. So we've also been very lucky since we've started to get quite a few awards. I think a few that we can highlight are the Frame Awards. We got Furniture of the Year for the Tycoon project Arnold talked about just now. We got a Gold Award at the A&D Awards. And also the Hong Kong Institute of Architects Annual Award. We got a special award for the Harbor Wave project that Arnold talked about. So these all really helped us to gain more recognition and more people start trusting us to take on projects. We're also very lucky to have a lot of different media exposure, like say from the Zine, Arc Daily, and a lot of TV interviews. So we're quite used to talking with a microphone now. So some other projects that are on the way. This is an architectural project in Tsuen Wan in Hong Kong. So this concept, we try to use this twisting concept because first of all, in this site with this beautiful view, this twisting concept actually brings the best views for each house. and also at the same time it avoids overlooking between the two houses. And it also creates different types of outdoor spaces, like this balcony here and this covered area here. So this is another project we wanted to talk a bit more about. So in Hong Kong, again, because the land is so scarce, a lot of times we are not actually working on projects of new buildings. We are working on very historical old buildings, and then how can we revitalize it in a way? So this project is for Aberdeen Boat Club, and the client actually specifically asks, they don't want to completely change it and lose all essence of what they had before. So we had to be very, very meticulous on how we balance celebrating the past, but also giving the club a fresh new outlook. So a few things we used to guide our design was, first, we had to celebrate the special historical moments from the past. Second was we used a lot of nautical forms and references to create the design. And thirdly is we had this accent color scheme to tie everything together. And the accent color scheme is actually based on these images of sunset and the feeling that you get at the end of the day after boating, which is really what the club is about. So our scope included the main entrance, the staircase, the main lobby, and then the restaurant. So we used those three themes we talked about just now to tie all those designs together. So for the facade, this was the old previous facade. Oh, sorry. And so when we first went there, we were thinking, oh, what can we do with this facade? So we started to find things that were interesting. Say, this portal form, we thought we could dress it up and celebrate this portal. And we found the facade very flat and very plain. So we used different, in the completed design, we used fluted tiles to add some rhythm and texture to the facade. We used a wood portal to highlight and celebrate the entrance. And a lot of different nautical themes in our design that we use. Then at night, we also use this light trough to enhance the facade. So we believe when we deal with historical buildings, a lot of these maybe very simple tricks, but actually has a very big effect. And for the client, they will think, oh, just by doing so little, we can gain so much. For them, they find it really cost effective. Also in the entrance, there was an existing skylight that we thought was really cool and we wanted to celebrate it. So like things like these, we will not take it down, but instead our new design is based around it and we highlight and celebrate the historical moments. Say we had some lighting around the edges that lighted up the anchor symbol at night. And at the daytime, we can keep the shadow on the ground, which when people walk in, they can feel the old and the new at the same time. Also for the entrance, say we use these strips to add some cover to the staircase. And the idea behind it is like we're trying to create this boat form so it feels like a boat is hovering above your head as you're walking inside. Also for the main entrance staircase, so this is the previous, and we actually didn't do too much, but we just applied some new 2 different types of wood, added some lighting. But what we wanted to do was really celebrate this very unique hexagonal form of the staircase, which is very rare in Hong Kong. You can see from this view, just by simple change of material and also, I guess, some subtle detailing around the edges here, we can really celebrate this unique form of the staircase. And another challenge we faced was the client wanted to add some lighting at the top of the staircase that can be visible from the outside. But one challenge we faced is there's actually no way to access this area. So if we added some lights here and they broke down, no one would ever be able to replace them. So what we decided to do was design this light, and actually it can be electronically lowered down till it can go very low. So usually it comes down to here, and then it can be maintained and replaced. And also the lighting changes to different colors, and it's visible from the outside at night. So the club can use it to suit different events and festivals. So we also added some lighting around the staircase, and this helps to make it bright enough and safe for the more elderly members of the club. For the lobby, you can see the previous design is very, very cluttered, and I think it was very constrained by the hexagonal form. And also there's a very low archway, which makes it very uncomfortable. So we actually couldn't do anything about this, but we used some design tricks to visually make the arc appear higher. And then this arc form, we applied it to the other faces of the hexagonal form. And each face has its own function. Say the reception, you can see how we we had to very acutely place this opening where the existing one was. You can probably not tell, but these gaps here are wider and here's more narrow. So we had to use these tricks to deal with the constraints we have on site. And this area is a trophy display cabinet. This actually also we had to put a lot of thought and detail, because this 2D curving glass, it was actually too expensive and too heavy and too hard to build. So we actually used plexiglass, which you can't really tell from far away that it's not glass, but that keeps it light enough that they can be open for people to change the trophies. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, maybe the challenges we face in Hong Kong are very different from what you guys are facing. So it'll be interesting to have some discussion about that later. So this was the existing coffee shop. And again, there are a few constraints, like the very low headroom of these beams and these air conditioning grills here. So we use these nautical formed frames to wrap around the beams to sort of limit its effect. And at the same time, you can see we created these are actually acoustic panels because the space was very noisy and loud. But if you can look here, those are where the AC grills are concealed. And so from far away, it's not really visible, and the client was very happy with the design. Yeah. And so, like we said before, we wanted to study a lot of different nautical elements in the design. So say the bar counter is reminiscent of the shape of a boat's hull. And say even the trolleys has elements of very traditional boats. So yeah, through using these three concepts of nautical, history, and colors, we were able to breathe new life to this club, but without losing connection to its past. So just a few more projects. Hope you guys are not too hungry yet. Another project is, this is actually the Holiday Inn Express in Hong Kong. They wanted a rebranding and refurbishment of the hotel rooms. So, and also they wanted to do it at a very limited budget, which is another constraint that we face in Hong Kong. So what we did was we used, say, this portal at the window. We did a bit of different design to celebrate the portal with these trims and change of materials. And we selected a lot of materials that, say, have some more unique patterns, and which really makes the space more hip and more vibrant. We added things like these desks, but one thing is, because we were trying to keep the budget down, Actually, there are a few things that we retained from the existing hotel room. I don't know if anyone can spot. Well, okay, so the headboard is actually the same one. It's just, I don't know, their photo was taken at a very different lighting condition. But this headboard we kept the same. This wallpaper is also the same. So the stuff we proposed, we had to really pair it with and make it look good with the existing materials, but at the same time have a very fresh new outlook. And because the budget was limited as well, so a lot of these details we had to think of ways to do simple details that did not cost much. Another project for the same developer was actually one of our first projects with them, just a very simple locker room, but they wanted us to make it as special as we could. So just by twisting each locker at the corners and twisting each panel of the doors, we were able to create this gradient of different colors, which again, it's a celebration of the sea and the waves nearby. So we're very lucky that in the last 4 years, we have had projects with many different types of clients. Say we have the big developers in Hong Kong, cultural institutes like Tai Kwun, Aberdeen Boat Club, Hong Kong Maritime Museum, government departments like the Housing Authority, Highways Department, and also other institutions like MTR, Urban Renewal Authority, HSBC, and so on. So as young startup company, it's very good to have such a diverse clientele because basically we can go to whoever is in need of projects, right?
So this is also the first bar we designed. Both Ted and I love to drink a little bit. and this
Just
bar
a
is
little
called,
bit.
yeah, just a little bit. This bar is called a Serendipity. And we designed like an undulating bookshelf. We believe a book is a conversation opener. Like when you go to a bar, you want to talk to new friends or you want to complain about something. And then a book become a medium, become a breakdown, like an ice-breaking game for the people there. And we are also working on our first project in Japan. It's a panoramic villa with a very open view of the golf course in Karuizawa, with an amazing bath that I want to spend a whole day there. And we also do office design, but we want to make it more cozy, and this is quite special because the client is an investment company actually, but they want to make it more warm, more cozy, that their colleagues want to spend more time there to social or to work longer actually. And we are very happy that earlier this year we have presented our first furniture collection, the Clover Collective, in the Milan Design Week in April. The design obviously is inspired by the clover leaf. And like a lot of our public space works, we believe in individuality and collectiveness. So we design modular furniture that can be used in solitude. You want a moment on your own, or you want to have a gathering. You can just purchase how many you want.
I actually think it will look really good in the lobby outside. If
Okay.
just go to our website and you can
I'll
order.
email you tonight. And yeah, Milan Design Week was an amazing event. Like it was the best, one of the best design festival I've been to. From the people, very international designer, all mingle around there, and a lot of good pasta and wine. I encourage everyone to go check it out. So actually, the material of the furniture is made of 100% recycled plastic. They are from discarded ear pods or umbrella handles, and then they melt it into these kind of granules, and then we can 3D print it into a new piece of furniture. So unlike a traditional use of maybe fiberglass polymer, this actually doesn't require a mold, and it saves a lot of material and time. And it also makes the design much more cost effective. And these are some texture. We make sure everyone can spend time there comfortably. So finally, we were really fortunate to grow from 2 very lonely people to around 10 people. And it is really because of our team efforts that we are able to do a lot of different kind of works. And throughout the past 4 years, we did a lot of small projects, but we almost completed around 40 projects in the past 4 years. And I think for us, it's really about putting a smile in people or to make people slightly happier in Hong Kong and to make them less stressed. And of course, right now we have most of our projects in Hong Kong, in Japan, and we really want to expand maybe in Asia and also globally. And final 2 projects we'll talk about briefly. We recently spent a month and a lot of late nights on a competition in Qinghai, in China, in Shenzhen. Our brief were to design 3 bridges. The first bridges on the left is about a dream, with a hand gesture of dream, because it is connected to the incubator center in Shenzhen. And in the middle is about collaboration. It's connecting 2 commercial towers. So we have this twisting form that pull each other to create this bridge of collaboration. Finally, the 3rd bridge is connecting the residential areas in Shenzhen. So we create a house form to celebrate the well-being in Shenzhen. And you can see in the interior, in the top images as well, it's not only a shell. You can also have a spatial experience inside the bridge that talk about the story and the concept of each of the bridges. And we actually didn't get any award. We lost it completely. We placed a heavy bet on this. We have so much resources spent in this. We didn't even get a little prize. But anyway, it was a very memorable experience. And I think being an entrepreneur or an architect is about facing challenges. Sometimes you have downs and sometimes you have up, but to stay resilient. But fortunately, part 2 of the competition, we have won the first prize. It is to design a simple architectural installation in Shenzhen. So this will be our first project in China, although it's quite small, but we are very excited to expand our opportunities in the region. So the pavilion is inspired by the bamboo material. We want to create an undulating form that celebrates the natural landscape of Qinghai, as well as the staggering towers of Shenzhen. So we hope to create multiple experiences within one small installations. So this is really our last page. So at ARTA, we don't have a style. A lot of people ask, do you have a style? But we believe in our methodology is to use artistic concept to infuse into our architecture. We do not have a style, but we tailor-made every project for our site, for our clients and future users. It's not about us, but it's all about the people who use the space. So thank you very much for all of your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful sharing. We give them a small water break. Meanwhile, for other people who, if you have any question, feel free to scan the QR code on the screen and do ask any question if you have. For those of you who want to get your CPD point, remember to scan the QR code outside later and do all the Google form to get your CPD point. So let's join us for our Q&A session. Okay, while waiting others to key in your question, I'm just sharing a bit how I get to know them. So we actually invited them last year, and 1 year ago, we have been watching and also following a few young architects from different parts of the world. We would really want to get connected with the young architects, especially in Asia, to see how they actually can cope with architecture field and also design field, especially towards the era after COVID. And both of them, as you can see just now, they have been sharing a few very interesting projects that tell us that, especially the young one and all the architecture fraternity, that you never give up even though it's COVID time. Joining a lot of competition, even though some project you don't win, but I'm sure that you have learned something along the way. So we have the first question here from the floor. Maybe both of you can answer. Can you just share us a little bit on your challenges when you started your architecture firm until now? Yes, I know there's a lot. Maybe just mention one.
Actually, I was going to say everything since we have started has been surprisingly very smooth. So I don't know, I think we got lucky. We found the right opportunities at the right time. Say we started from doing a lot of competitions, and then say at the beginning we started doing simple residential renovations, but it's surprising what those can lead to. Say the Aberdeen Boat Club project, we started firstly from, they actually first came looking for someone to help think of a design and style guide. So you can imagine that is such a minuscule project, and maybe a lot of people would not be interested, but we did our best efforts for them, and they really liked the ideas that we outlined for the whole club. And that led to the next project, which was first to do 4 toilets for them. So again, not the most interesting projects, but from that, we were able to build trust with them, and then that's what led to them appointing us for the rest of the clubhouse. So yeah, I think maybe we were not afraid to start small and not afraid to try many unconventional projects. But the result has been, so far it's been very smooth. Not too many challenges. Can you think of any?
Yeah, I think also one of the challenges is sometimes you might forget why do you do architecture. Like you have to handle computers, installing software, you have to hire people, you have to give out salary, you have to update your Instagram. You might get distracted by so many things. But I guess all of us here are very architecturally trained, and we all want to create meaningful space. So I think one of the challenges is to stay focused. Again, sometimes, not only in architecture, but in life, you have up and downs, but to stay focused and not give up and to stay resilient. I think that is one of the biggest things we have learned from the entrepreneurship.
Thank you. You mentioned about installing software and etc. Can you just share with us, do you guys use any interesting or new software? And do you think AI would actually help you to address your design challenges, in the future or even now?
I think since our university days, we use a lot of Rhino 3D and Grasshopper mainly. But nowadays, we are overwhelmed by AI actually. And actually, a few days ago, I just submitted a proposal, and I just created half of the design in 3D model with a form. And then I used the Gemini Nano Banana model to create the rendering. So I think AI is a bit scary, and I don't know what does it do 10 years later. But then I think the only solution is to embrace it and to make use of it and to take control of it rather than being controlled by it. I don't know what's Tech. He hates AI.
So again, since we started, our partnership has been super smooth. We have rarely had any disagreements. But maybe the only thing we see differently is AI. I'm just a bit worried that AI will dampen creativity. I'm especially worried the younger generations, if they're too into AI and they miss out on that development stage where they have to brainstorm, that they have to think very deeply about concepts. I'm worried that AI will make things less creative as a result. So
Yeah, that part I think I agree with Ted. Sometimes we receive some job application, they have 200 images from AI. We were like, no, that's not design. And you can see they cannot control it. The AI control them. There's many variables. So I think we have to use AI carefully, but yeah.
But I do agree we probably cannot not explore it. Maybe we can let it do very tedious and time-wasting things that frees us up to do more creative work. So maybe that's one way to
our
go.
debate will continue later. Yeah.
Thanks, good to hear that. You have shown us a lot of your project, and I think many of the projects is actually facing seaside and etc. Is there any additional concern that you are looking at when you're actually selecting material on durability or maintenance wise? Any special thing you want to share with us?
I think one thing we can share is, so because by the seaside, the environment is always very harsh. Like the temperature changes a lot. There's a lot of corrosion from the sea salt. So we do have to select specific materials to deal with it. Examples. But another thing is, in Hong Kong, I guess you guys have it too, but we have a lot of typhoons, and it's becoming more and more. So each project, we do have to make sure everything is typhoon-proof and very. So the projects we've done, even the art installations, they're built to withstand Typhoon number 8, which is one of the strongest ones in Hong Kong.
I think the biggest challenges in waterfront is to negotiate with the structure engineer on the structural size, because we cannot dismantle our art installation in 4 hours before the typhoon comes. So often we design something and then the structure engineer told us it has to be 2 times bigger, but we always don't want that. So it's about the process of negotiation and also to brainstorm, to work together with the structure engineer to find a good solution. Sometimes you can just tweak a little bit. For example, a triangle works better than a square. You can already resolve a lot of things.
You share with us on the negotiation. We did here in Malaysia, we also have to negotiate. Maybe we don't have to negotiate so much because we don't have typhoon. But can you share with us how do you do negotiation when you deal with client, or particularly the project that you did just now? Is it all government project or is like NGO? How do you guys actually work together with the Hong Kong government?
So we do have some projects that the client is directly the government, but then we also have other projects that are for developers and other institutions. So for those projects, in Hong Kong, there's a buildings department which regulates all the building regulations. So we have to submit our plans to them for approval. And so we found that, so obviously they play everything very safe. They go strictly by the book. And so when we need to challenge them, like say for the hoarding project that we showed, what we have to do is we have to find reasons for them to approve us. So we have to say what merit this project does, and we have to demonstrate, oh, even though it's so different from other hoardings, it's just as safe, it takes up the same amount of space. And in the end, when you give them some supporting reasons, they can find reasons to approve the designs.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like playing board games or playing new board games. Sometimes this client has this kind of characteristics, or the government is more conservative. I think as architect, a lot of architects are very talented in design, but negotiation seems like most of the time more important than design somehow. If you can able to sell a bad design in a very good presentation, that's even better than an unrealized design sometimes. So I think the trick is a little bit to understand their mindset and how they operate. After you understand that, I'm not asking you follow all their mindset, but to find ways to use an understanding way to tell them your good ideas. I think that's the way we try to find a gap where we can put our expertise in there. Yeah.
I assume these tips, on mind the gap and understanding that gap is one of the unique selling point of your company. Now, the audience would like to know more about it. As a young architecture firm in Hong Kong, there's so many international and big firms in your country. How do you think you can actually compete with them? And how do you stand out in your point of view?
So, without generalizing too much, say large architectural firms, I don't know, maybe they have 100 projects going on. So maybe they don't have the time to treat each project with as much attention. But hopefully by using the concepts that we outline, trying to make each project special, trying to have artistic concepts in each project. So far it seems like most clients, they quite like the ideas that we bring. Maybe because we don't give very standard responses to the design. We treat each project very individually. We do a lot of research. We try and think of unique concepts for each project. So hopefully this will make us stand out and be able to compete against larger, more established firms.
Yeah, I think when you do things sincerely, wholeheartedly, and the client can tell from the process, I think that's the key.
So can you share with us a bit, how do you guys actually get your projects or client apart from the competition or installation that you guys did?
So I think everything starts small. Ted talked about a few toilets, and our first Harbourfront project is a furniture. It's smaller than the size of the stage. Then we got a little bigger, maybe 3 meters by 3 meters. Then later on we got a whole Harbourfront or the Anchor Plaza Museum. So I think it's about not being afraid to start very small. And I think in Hong Kong, one of the most important aspects to get a job is job reference. If you have great design in your portfolio, but they are all renderings or computer generated, they won't believe you. Like especially the government, everything you do have to have a reference. So I think it's about get things built first. No matter it's a furniture or the stool in front of us, just get it done first.
I also think one of the other ways we have gotten projects is, say, invited tenders, which is good and bad because it's good because it gives us a chance to bid for projects, and then we can use our design to try and win over the project. It's bad is, these invited tenders, a lot of them, they don't come with a pitching fee or anything. So sometimes we are lucky and we get the project. Sometimes we're unlucky, and just like Arnold said just now, we can spend a month on a competition and not get anything. But so yeah, the good thing is that it does give an opportunity for us to show what we can do and then hopefully get some projects that way.
Yeah, I think that competition, actually, the bonding within the 10 people in the office got really close. So I think, yeah.
Now we have a few last questions. One of the questions is like the one that you mentioned just now. How do you actually negotiate or discuss the design with your client? What happens if they reject your design? How will you actually do this? Or maybe you can let us know if you face any challenges when your client actually tell you that I want A, but you are doing B, things like that. Do you happen to have this issue when you're doing your design?
Trying very hard to think of one.
I think
they're usually okay with our design.
I think the Kai Tak waterfront project we showed is very challenging. Because in Hong Kong nowadays, it's more and more common to use the design and build contract. You typically, I think, maybe also in Malaysia, architect, the role is above the contractor. Architect can say things, you can do this, you can try to do this. But in that case, we were employed by contractor. So they only look at the Excel sheet and whatever is cheaper. So what we did, for example, I told you about, they asked for a flat toilet roof. We asked for a 30-degree angle, and we negotiated for 2 months. So we actually have to call the fabricator or call multiple fabricator and to quote from them and to convince the client, okay, now it's only 5% or 10% more expensive than the original one. It's a little bit more special. It's not spectacular, but it enhances a little bit of the design. So why don't you pay 5% or 10% more to do it? So we always try to find solution, especially from a budget point of view, to work around it. Or if they like this panel, why don't we just paint it, for example? Yeah.
Have you got anything more to share? This will be our last question.
I think another way to look at it is we tend to have a very optimistic outlook. So when the client says they don't want this, we try and find the opportunities rather than feeling sorry for ourselves. And yeah, I feel this kind of approach, it helps us explore more solutions, and then it also makes us keep a very positive mindset. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks everyone for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.